Hello everybody. As promised, I thought I'd pop on and give a quick update after my fertility appointment earlier this week. I'm in a bit of a different background, so I've sneaked upstairs to my room while the kids are all downstairs having a very late lunch. Anyway, so the appointment was, today is Wednesday, the appointment was Monday, and I was a wreck. I was so nervous. I had a friend go with me because hubby couldn't make it because of work, as I think I mentioned before. I went and met my friend at where she works, and she said the second I walked into her shop I looked terrified. So that shows the state I was in most of that day. So we popped along in pouring rain. Luckily she drove us to the hospital. Sat in the waiting room. It seemed like we weren't kept waiting that long, particularly compared to last time, but that could have been because we just didn't stop talking, which is maybe a bit different than I would have been with hubby. Walked into the room and the consultant was there, and as usual a junior trainee doctor or whatever she was didn't actually tell me who she was this time, but she was sitting there with a big grin on her face and a notebook. That was fine, and as soon as I walked in I noticed he had test results on the computer screen, so I instantly thought, oh god, this isn't going to be good, because that's how I was feeling that day. And he must have picked up on that, because he turned around straight away to me and said your test results were normal. And then he went back to looking at the screen, and he said, these are your husband's semen analysis. And I went, oh god, are they bad? And he said, no, the motility is up. He said, that was what we were worried about. He said motility last time when they did it was, the figure he wasn't happy with was 37%, I think, and the normal for motility, how much they're swimming, and I think that's to do with going in the right direction and stuff like that. I think with his main concern was the fact they weren't swimming very much, and the normal they want is 40%. And I said, well, it wasn't drastically low, and he said, well, even that few percent can affect things anyway, so he wanted it better, and this time it was up to 43%, so that was brilliant. He said they weren't able to check the sperm count this time, because apparently, well, his words, and I couldn't help but laugh, was it was thick. His sperm was thick, and I laughed because maybe that's the problem. His sperm are thick and don't know what they're doing. But maybe that's just my mentality. And he said he wasn't worried because the sperm count previously, back in March when he first had it done, was over 80 million. And he said that was well over what it needed to be. So he really wasn't worried in any way, shape, or form. And he kept saying my tests are all normal. I said, when you say normal, I said I need numbers. I said, I've been doing my research. I want to, I actually want numbers. I sat there with my little notebook ready to take notes because I knew I'd go home thinking, oh, what did he say was what point what? And he said my FSH was 4.3. I said, oh, that sounds like it's good. Is that good? And he went on the computer, or he went through my file, looked at twice I think I've had it done. And he said it's actually got better. He said the last time it was done, it was 5 point something. And I thought that's not what my GP told me, so he told me that wrong anyway. And before that, in 2008, when we first tried for number 4, it was 6 point something. So to be down at 4.3 is brilliant. I was thrilled. And I said, oh, LH. He said, oh, LH is normal. He says, I'm not remotely worried. And I actually didn't write that down for some reason. I just wrote normal, I think because he was looking at me. And that was 2 point something. So although it's higher than FSH, and from what I've read that's not always a great sign, he didn't seem worried about it. He then turned straight away and said, oh, I said, so basically he's not the problem, I am. And he didn't argue it. He just sort of said, well, all these other things are normal. Are you regular? And I thought, well, I've already gone through all this. I went, no, I'm completely irregular. He said, what were your last few cycles? I said, well, you're looking at 33 days, 41 days, 36 days. I said, there isn't. I said, in the actual time that I'm having a period is less days, but he didn't really want to know that. He wasn't remotely interested. You go through these points, you think everything to do with your cycle is relevant, so you just waffle, but apparently it's not all. And it has gone down. I used to literally be on for 10 days, and that would be properly on. It used to be hell. And the last few months or so, that I've really noticed it get less and less. I mean, last month I literally was on for probably 4 days, losing anything, and 2 of those days were what I'd call proper, and that's never ever happened to me. So it worried me, because you always think, oh, menopause, but if my FSH is okay, I guess that's not an issue. So he said, sorry, the computer went blank then. He said, oh, I need to put you on medication. Okay. He said, so I'm going to give you Clomid. He says, for 6 months. I was quite surprised, because having read, on various sites and everything, a lot of people aren't getting funding for that long. They're getting 3 months and then put on something else, whatever. He was, adamant straight on to 6 months. He said, I've got to start it next cycle, which I'm not due until about the first week of January, and I've got to take 50 milligrams. First of all, he said to me no side effects. I thought, well, I know that's not true. From my research again, I know that's not true. So he said, yeah, 50 milligrams. I said, well, do I need to take it at a particular time of day to avoid any side effects? And he said, no side effects. This is all fine. This is very, very good stuff. Okay. 50 milligrams from day 2 to day 6, he said. He was very, very strict about that. Because I said, oh, people do it differently. He said, no, you are taking it day 2 to day 6. So how many days will you be taking it? And I just went blank thinking, is that a trick question? So I went day 2 to day 6. He went, how many is that? I went, 5. He said, yes, 5. I thought, okay. Maths was never my strong point. And he said, and then what you do is you come back in here on day 21 and you have a blood test. And then you wait 48 hours and you ring, and he gave me the numbers for these specialist nurses who I had to speak to afterwards. It was very difficult to get their names out of them. And I ring them specifically, no one else. He kept on saying it has to be them. I thought, great. Chances of getting hold of the person you want to speak to when you ring a hospital are not great. He said, and they will give me the result of my progesterone, and that will say apparently whether the ovaries are responding to the fertility treatment. And if they're not, they will tell me what dose to take on my next cycle. And then you go through it all again, back for the blood test, I suppose, until they actually say, yes, your ovaries are responding, stick at this level. I didn't dare ask what happens after the 6 months. I must admit, I was a bit thrown by everything as it was, and I didn't want, you worry, I think, when I go to around say 6 months and that's it. If you haven't got pregnant at 6 months on Clomid, we don't know what will happen, or whether he'll put me on it again or try something else. I really don't know. I'm going to be 37 by the time I see him again, and that worries me. He doesn't seem the least bit bothered about age. He's not mentioned my age once as an issue. So I don't know what will happen then. So we went off out, and first he didn't give me an appointment to see him again, and I went outside to the desk, and the lady said, oh, when are you back with us? And I thought, oh God, he hasn't asked to see me again. That's not great. And then he came running down the corridor calling me, and gave me the form that says review in 6 months. So that was fine. I made an appointment. Next appointment will be, that's unless of course I get the lovely letter changing it. It's 26th of June, something like that, next year. Of course, ideally it'd be nice not to have it. So today is cycle day 19. I took my soy isoflavones. I've got to work. So please tell me if I'm pronouncing that right. This month, for the 2nd month running, I took them at a higher dose. I'm just reviewing stuff I think I've already told people, but I took them last month at 100 milligrams, and I took them from day 5 to day 9 last month. This month I took them from day 2 to day 6, only because I forgot on day 1, but day 1, it's hit and miss with me what I count as day 1, because I'm not always that heavy at the very beginning, or I can go bang and be massively heavy. It varies. I took them day 2 to day 6, and I took 150 milligrams for the 5 days. And I've been doing I do the internet GP of OPKs, and I got a positive on day 19, 17, day 16 they started to turn positive, because I literally have no lines during the rest of the time, nothing, not even a faint one. On day 16 I started to get a faint line, and obviously day 17 it was a clear positive. Yesterday's was very positive, and today it's gone faint again. So I assume that means I've ovulated today. Maybe someone can help me, because I still don't totally get this. I always thought you count from when it goes completely negative, but I don't know whether I'm getting these things wrong. So for me that's only a day earlier than I normally, I average getting my positive OPK on about day, it's weird, day 18 I've had several times, but I've also had day 26 several times. So day 17 for a positive isn't a massive improvement, but it's better than it being later. And so according to that means that they're saying that my next cycle is now due to start, counting from there, about the 3rd of January, counting the 14 days. It's the day all my kids go back to school. So I have to wait to find out what happens then, whether I'm testing and by some miracle getting a BFP, or whether I'm testing and getting BFN and starting the Clomid. I have to admit, a bit scared of taking the Clomid. Sounds stupid because, you know, I went in there hoping he would give me something to help, and he has, and now I'm scared of doing it. But I'm hoping people can relate to that. I mean, in the end, he did talk to me about side effects, and that, you know, that's possibly what scared me. He said, the first one he talked about obviously was the 10% chance of twins, and I couldn't look at my friend's face because my friend knows my husband as well, and she knows his jaw probably would have hit the floor at that point, even though I've told him before that all these things increase the chances of multiples. But because I don't seem to be releasing one egg, I don't think it's really occurred to us that could happen. He said that was a, you know, literally 10% chance of multiple birth, and even less than that for like triplets and quads and God knows what else. Then he said the ovaries do get big. He was quite funny. He sort of went, they go from, where am I, from sort of this big to this big, and he says, and if they overreact, you're looking at this big. My friend's jaw thought that point. I said, does that hurt when they get bigger? He said, oh, you do get discomfort on Clomid. He said, I'm not going to pretend it's not, you know, it's an easy ride. He said, it won't be comfortable. He said, you know, you like to get abdominal pain, distended stomach. I thought, well, I get all that anyway. I've had my gallbladder out. I've had constant stomach trouble all my life, really. That's not going to be a bigger shock. I said, how am I meant to know from that if it's more serious? Because he said, oh, there's a more serious condition called hyper-ovarian stimulation syndrome. That sounds like it might be right. Something like that, he said. I should have written it down. He said, which is where obviously the ovaries go a bit insane from the drug, produce loads and loads of follicles or whatever, and he said you then get fluid in your stomach, which causes the stomach to swell up. You know, it can make you very ill. And he said that would be the point that you'd obviously be rushed into hospital. And I said, well, I sort of said, well, how would I know? Because I do get constant pains. I'm used to most days having a stomach ache. And he said, oh no, you would know with this very quickly. I thought, great. I thought, fine, you know, if there's anything I'm likely to be prone to, it's going to be that. Possibly, you know, probably more than the twins scenario. So that's worried me a bit, and that's what's worrying my husband. I think when I came home and sort of talked through the appointment with him, and when I described that, he was quite worried, because he knows as well as I do. Like I say, if you're going to get side effects, it's usually going to be me that gets them, and something to do with the stomach, it's quite likely with me. So bless him. We've been trying like rabbits since getting the positive, the day before it as well. We hadn't much before then. I think with all Christmas and everything coming up, his work's hectic as hell. I think we just hadn't, you know, and I was stressing a big style about various things going on. So I think he's blessing me. I think he's hoping that I'm not going to need it next month, but I'm not going to raise my hopes like that. You know, I've got it there. I'm ready to take it. I'm scared stiff of taking it, but I'm ready to take it. And I'm trying to ignore the little voice in the back of my head going, well, if soy isoflavones haven't worked and then nature's Clomid, why will Clomid work for me? But my friend said we have to try and think positive, don't we? So I'm just going to see how it goes. I've got 6 months of it. Yeah, not much else I can do other than stay positive, I suppose, and not worry about what they do after 6 months until I get to that stage. Sorry, it's my son in the background who was told to leave me alone, but he's obviously not listening. Sorry, the fly across the screen there. I did go to the husband's work do. It was fine, that was all good. And apart from that, that's all my news, so thank you and Merry Christmas again. Bye.